How would you like to make an eggshell disappear and then make that same egg shrink and finally grow, change colours and then bounce?
That sounds like my kind of fun.
Great, let's get this show going.
Explorers, grab a grown-up, put on your thinking caps, and prepare to be outstanded. To start off, you will need an egg without an eggshell.
We show you how to do this in our extraordinary video called Experiment. Make an eggshell disappear. Click the link on your screen to learn how to make the eggshell disappear. Now that you have an egg without an eggshell, the fun begins. You will need a container, maple syrup, or you could use honey or corn syrup, food colouring, and water. Now, take your egg and carefully place it in your container. Then, you'll pour the maple syrup over the egg until it is covered. Then, leave it for at least 24 hours. Now it's time to take the egg out of the maple syrup.
The egg is shrunk. What made it do that?
I'd love to tell you, but right now I'll just give you a hint. Imagine an elephant trying to get through a doggy door.
That sounds like a bad idea for the elephant.
Exactly, but you'll have to wait to hear about that a little bit later. Back to our egg. We're going to take our naked, shrunken egg and make it bouncy and colourful. Place the shrunken egg in your container, pour some water on top of it. Now, add some food colouring. We decided to make purple, so we added blue and red. Around 8 drops is great. Leave it there for around 24 hours and see what happens. Now it's time to take the egg out of the water.
Wow, it's so much bigger than another egg.
It's changed colour too, and it bounces! Cool! Of course, explorers, if you bounce it from too high, it will break and make a mess. So make sure you bounce it somewhere where your grown-up says it's okay. So that you don't get sick, don't eat raw eggs, and make sure you wash with soap and hot water your hands and anything else that has touched the raw egg.
Now can you tell me what our shrinking growing egg has to do with dog doors?
Of course. Without the eggshell, the egg parts are held inside by the membrane, like a skin holding it together. And that membrane is a lot like a doggy door. Small dogs can fit through, but if this elephant wanted to go through that same doggy door, it would be too big to get through. The doggy door lets small things pass through, but it keeps big things like elephants, or you, or me, out.
So how is that anything like a membrane?
The membrane is the same way. It lets some things pass through, but it keeps other things out. So, with our membrane, it is like there is a doggy door all over the egg. Inside the egg, we have the yolk and the white, which are made up of a lot of water. Then, we put the egg in the maple syrup, which has almost no water. There is a higher concentration of water inside the egg than outside of it. The water molecules want to go where there is more space, so the ones from inside pass through the membrane, remember the doggy door, into the syrup until the concentration inside and outside of the membrane are equal. That's why the egg shrinks. It has less water in it.
So if water is leaving the egg, does the maple syrup go in?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. Syrup is mostly made up of sugar, which is a much larger molecule than water. There are a lot of sugar molecules here and very few inside of the egg, but the sugar is like the elephant trying to get through the doggy door. It's just too big to pass through, so it stays put and all of those sugar molecules stay on the outside.
The shrunken egg doesn't look very bouncy to me.
You're right, it's not. That's why we put it in the water and added food colouring just for fun. Now this time around, there is a much higher concentration of water on the outside of the membrane than on the inside. So which direction do you think the water will travel? Yes, that's right. The water will move from the higher concentration of water, which is on the outside of the egg, through the membrane to the inside. That is what makes the eggs bloat and get bigger. This process of molecules moving through a membrane from a high concentration to a low concentration is called osmosis. For our Explore More challenge,
What happens if?
What happens if you put the egg into different liquids? Orange juice, oil, soda. Will it shrink or bloat? Post your answer in the comments section below and let us know what you find out. To make sure you don't miss any Explore More videos, click on the subscribe link here.
Until next time, my friends, explore more!